Hi everyone, welcome back to Let It Cook. It's Christmas time, so today we're making cookies again, specifically Fiorentina. For this, we need dark chocolate, sliced almonds, candied orange peel, vanilla sugar, salt, and brown sugar. That's a bit of almond meal, honey, cream, butter, and a little bit of Grand Marnier. Yeah, guys, Christmas is just around the corner. One of my favorite cookies is Fiorentina. Try making them yourself, maybe you'll like them as much as I do. Let's begin by adding the brown sugar to a pan. While it caramelizes, we can start chopping the candied orange peel. That's something, if you don't like it, it can be a bit polarizing, so just leave it out. I think it's pretty tasty. For me, it must be in Florentines. That's a bit too much, I'll put in a little less now. Of course, I used Grand Marnier for that. If you have kids, of course, just leave it out. The recipe works without liquor too. That's just the adult version. Now chop this up well. By the way, if you want to let it cook cooking channel knife, there's a link up here. Also a nice gift for Christmas. Check it out. That's while I'm chopping this here. I want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the subscribers who support me every month. You guys are the best. You make sure the production runs a bit more smoothly. I can always buy groceries with your support. That's really great. Who wants to support me? Below you'll also find a link to PayPal and the link to channel membership. As I said, it's not a must, of course, but we really appreciate it. So now the sugar is slowly starting to caramelize. I used brown sugar because it tastes a bit more malty. Why do I have almond flakes and meal? Simple, they'll be mixed with the cream, alcohol, and more soon. If it sometimes gets a bit too runny, you can use the almond meal like breadcrumbs to balance it out, so the mixture becomes nice and compact. So if this has caramelized a little bit here, that's enough. Because the brown sugar already tastes kind of malty, you can go ahead and deglaze it with the schnapps. Let it cook out, and in theory, you could use it for kids. A pinch of salt in as always. And now pour in the cream. Don't be surprised, this farm cream has a nice layer on top. Then we add the butter as well. Now let it simmer until it thickens slightly. You can see that a crust has formed from the caramel, and we want to dissolve this crust with the cream, so to speak. It will dissolve again in a moment, and then it will become a mixture. Here you can see this and that. We now have to let it cook until that's gone. Don't let it get too hot, and let the whole thing cook down a bit. Here's a tip. When working with caramel, use wooden utensils. It comes off wooden spoons much more easily, so use wooden spoons, not metal ones. Besides, it's also better for the pan if you use a wooden spoon. You can also break up the caramel a bit or make it smaller so it dissolves faster. And now we'll let the whole thing simmer down for a bit, as I said, until it gets a caramel-like consistency. Now we'll also add the honey. By the way, you can enjoy Fiorentina all year round. This isn't a classic Christmas pastry. You can also serve it perfectly with espresso, for example. I can't tell you exactly where it comes from. I tried to research it. Some say France, others say Italy. What is Florence? I don't know. I can't tell you. To me, the French origin probably sounds a bit more realistic, but no one really knows for sure. Write it in the comments if you know. Of course, once it's reduced like this, you see it almost looks like caramel. You can turn off the heat now. Now we'll add a bit of the vanilla sugar. I don't really like to add vanilla sugar at the beginning because vanilla is a very, very well fragile element, I'd say. And if you add it a little later, it won't burn as easily. Now when it looks like this, it's perfect. Then we first add the sliced almonds, then the candied orange peel, candied lemon peel, or whatever else you want to add. The bell is ringing for you. The note, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, it doesn't cost you a cent. Just click it, it helps the channel. Leave a thumbs up if you like it. And now we'll stir it all together. Yes, this almond semolina you see here is basically just there in case it's too runny for us, because it actually looks like we won't even need it today. And the almonds can break up a little bit now too. So don't worry about that. I added a little splash of cream as well. Don't worry, I'll link it for you in the recipe. Simply because it hadn't mixed together nicely yet. And I wanted to have a really even consistency. Now I just let the cream cook with it again, as you can see. Now just another little splash, and now it coats the almonds even better. I'm leaving out the almond meal completely now, because the mixture is already perfect anyway. If it's still too runny, you started too early, add a tablespoon of almond meal, and it'll be perfect. Now I've preheated the oven to 160 degrees top and bottom heat. It depends a bit on your oven, like always. I know mine well. It works great with top and bottom heat and can use convection too. Of course, when baking, these will spread out a bit, right? And if you have wind in there, it might push them somewhere a little bit, then they won't be quite as round. Honestly, I don't think it's so bad if they're a bit misshapen. It's a homemade thing. It doesn't have to look perfect. You can also take a ring like this, oil it a bit so the caramel doesn't stick to it. For example, just take a baking sheet and put it here. Thickness varies. Some make them super thin, others prefer them a bit thicker. I do something in between, and now we'll just start here like this to make it about as thick as a strawberry. I would say you like it when it's a bit thicker. You all already look perfect. It's not that important to me. Exactly, and that's how you do it now, but always leave it like that. Well, let's see if we can even manage to make 4. They need a bit of space, otherwise they'll run into each other when they melt in the oven, so make sure to leave some space between them. Okay, now the baking tray is ready. Unfortunately, you can't put much more on it because, as I said, they'll spread out. They'll get a thin edge around the outside later. Yeah, you'll need to nudge them a bit while they're still hot. I'll prepare them now. Since there's some batter left, I'll need to bake about 3 batches. Personally, I'm not a big fan of putting multiple trays in my oven at the same time. Sometimes the bottom tray doesn't bake as evenly. That's why I take my time and just do the first tray. They need about 10 to 12 minutes. I'll tell you what, I'll time it and let you know exactly how long they took for me. And I'll show them to you as soon as they're baked, my dears. Now take a look. I made the first ones a bit too big. You can see that clearly. Now they're nice and golden yellow. I left them in for 10 minutes at 160, 165 degrees. And now, while they're still so hot, you can easily fix them a bit in the spots where they've spread out. Just correct them a little. If you made them a bit too big like I did, then just make sure you get them back into a round shape everywhere so they're all about the same size. That works perfectly now. Yeah, you see, it's really not a problem, so don't worry about it. You can also make square ones, triangle ones. There are no limits to your imagination. Yeah, and now we'll just push it all back together like this. Because when they cool down in a moment, they'll get hard anyway. The sugar will harden, and then they'll be nicely caramelized. And then they'll stick together nicely. There. And now that we've shaped them nicely again, the colleagues, we'll let them cool down properly, and then they'll get hard again. Next, I'll show you how to use the coverture. By the way, I'm already putting them slowly into a water bath. Yeah, just start melting them slowly. If you have a microwave, you can do that. I don't have one. In life, I think the microwave is good for 2 things: softening butter and melting coverture chocolate. Otherwise, I don't really need it. That's why I don't have one. Yes, here I am again, my dears. The second batch was probably in 30 seconds too long, so they browned a bit around the edges. I think it's still absolutely fine. I didn't pay enough attention. That's my own fault. And now we're going to flip them all over. I also let them cool down. It didn't take that long, just a few minutes. There's quite a bit of sugar in them, so it goes pretty quickly. Some fat has leaked out clearly from the butter and cream. This isn't exactly a health pastry, so you won't lose weight with it. I'll just say that carefully. But it's Christmas after all. It is Christmas. One of my absolute favorite pastries. It also helps that there's no dough, just chocolate and almonds. Super delicious. And now you go ahead. The coverture is nicely tempered. Yeah, just don't let it get too hot, then it won't turn gray so quickly. And now you spread the whole bottom part really generously with chocolate. Yeah, it can go all the way to the edge. And it's okay to have a bit of a layer on it. Don't be too stingy with the chocolate. Linus quickly put a new baking paper down for me because I don't want to use the greasy baking paper again. Otherwise, I'll get grease stains in the chocolate. And now you go ahead and take this and place it on the chocolate side. I want the chocolate to be nice and smooth later when we package it. It just looks better when the chocolate is nice and smooth. You can also do it on the side, and now anyone can paint it however they want. I prefer doing it this way for a nice, clean result. I'll finish them now, and then I'll show them to you. Of course, we have to let them cool down again. I'll show them to you once they've cooled down. My dears, they've cooled down. I think they look fantastic, even though I'm not the greatest baker. The result is good. With Christmas coming, try making them yourself. I'll taste one for you. They've cooled now. Maybe another 5 minutes would help, but I already want one so much. What can I say? 1,000 times better than those store-bought bone-dry ones. I'll make it at home myself. My favorite cookie fits perfectly into any cookie selection. It's actually pretty quick to make, and you don't need that many ingredients for it. Enjoy, my dears. I wish you a merry or pre-Christmas season, depending on when I upload the video, since I'm not sure yet. And now, take care until next week, my dears. Bye. See you.